Alright guys, today we're going to be talking about some very fascinating books, and the first one is Think and Grow Rich, and it has a chapter in this book. By the way, this book has sold hundreds of millions of copies, and it's a book on accumulating wealth. So the book's called Think and Grow Rich. I have it here, and there's this one chapter in this book towards the end. It's one of the most it's towards the end, so it's one of the most important chapters according to the author. And this book has made thousands upon thousands of people rich. And here's where it gets interesting. The last quarter of the book, technically throughout the book, it starts talking about stuff I was not expecting. Mushy gushy, subconscious stuff, affirmations, and then this whole chapter on this thing called sexual energy. And basically, the author lists all these types of energy that motivate you, some that aren't really worth it, and then he gets to sexual energy, which he says every successful person I've encountered, and the whole book's about how he interviewed like 70 to 100 of the most successful wealthy individuals at the time, including people like Andrew Carnegie, who was like a steel magnate, and inflation adjusting, he was like the king of the world. He was the richest person ever, billions of dollars. So this guy knew what he was talking about, and he wasn't just like casually interviewing them. He had deep conversations. So long story short, he talks a whole lot about sexual energy, sexual transmutation, and basically from what I can tell, it's this level of it's a certain level of lust for a woman that's translated to create amazing things. I have to read the chapter again. But let's move on to the next one. Here's where it gets interesting. This is a very well-known book too. It's called The Ways of the Superior Man by David Deida. And here's a chapter in this book. It's a very short chapter, 3 pages long, about how a man should act in terms of turning lust into gifts. And so what he says is most people are chodes. They're losers, and as far as this goes, what they do is they go into a state of what's called stimulation and then release. So he describes it as one of two ways. One is mental fantasy. So he's talking masturbation. Your lust, for whatever reason you can't get the girl, so you're just mentally picturing all these fantasies, or you're going on a porn site, and then you're releasing this energy. And then the other is, I guess, I may be reading it wrong, but just actually, sex. However, what he's saying, long story short, is there's another way of doing this, and basically you let it envelop every cell of your body, not just your head or your genitals, and then it's all this mushy gushy stuff that is on the complete opposite of the personality type I am. Envelop every cell of your body. Excuse me. Every cell of your body, blah, blah, blah. Embrace it. Let it magnify you. Don't let it just be stimulated by your head or genitals. Bathe every cell in it. Feel it outward. With every exhale, move the world, penetrate it, and then slowly let the woman's sexiness help you discover and give your gift, rather than beguile you into cycles of stimulation and depletion. So it's very fascinating, and I know for me at least, you can get very mentally frustrated. I mean, it's hard for women to wrap their head around, because I don't know, maybe they're not the same way, but for guys, I feel like, at least for me, you can get very mentally frustrated if you're not releasing. It could just build up, and you get very antsy very quickly, and so most guys let that off some way, masturbation, or they have an actual girl, or they get a girl, and honestly, like, it's such